Hello, everyone. Ben Bryce here, joined by Teddy Tarvis to give you your Midday Mayhem. Teddy, what are we looking at today? Markets all are moving around. We were higher yesterday in the grains. What's going on?
Yeah, I think this is your classic sort of turnaround Tuesday. Started out really good yesterday. Saw some pre-buying of the planting report, and now things are kind of turning around today because we got the planting progress, and now we're back up to speed with the corn, or just about, and then with beans and wheat, we're I think ahead of pace. So yeah.
I mean, you're right. I mean, we were behind for a few weeks on the corn, and everyone's getting nervous we weren't going to get it in. But I mean, surprise, surprise, farmers are pretty good at planting corn. Farmers are good at farming,
Yeah.
And it just seems like a lot of this market's getting a little heavy. We had that rally last week, right? We got up there. We had new crop corn right at that 496 and 3/4 level. And it only took a few days to sell off almost 20 cents.
Yeah. It's interesting to see. Wheat is actually still kind of holding strength somewhat today. Corn's only down a few cents, so it's not the end of the world. But beans are kind of falling apart today. So we'll see if we can get some strength in the back half of the week. But I really think that over maybe by the end of the month it is the time that you have to be looking to get new crop hedges in place. I can't stress that enough. And it's better to be catching this thing when there's a rally or some sort of pie, rather than trying to catch it when it's on the way down. So
yeah, and it sure seems like that, right? I mean, we had funds come in here for the past few weeks. They're buying it strong, and then last week they were buying it a little, but they weren't. They didn't have that big strength that everyone was expecting. And we are sure we've gotten a lot of rain. A lot of the Midwest has gotten rain, and some areas are quite further ahead with planting than others, but some guys haven't been able to turn a wheel either. So you kind of hear both sides of the story. But I mean, at the same time, the overall underlying story that is behind this corn market is that we have a massive carryout, right? We have 2.1 billion bushels. We have a ton of acres that we're planting. If we hit, I think the USDA has trend yield sitting at 181. I mean, the amount of acres we planted and that trend yield, prices, we're sitting at a price that, we might be sitting a little bit high. And, if you're able to make money, it may be, like you said, a really good time to consider hedging.
Yeah, I think there's a big difference too in what people want to see, and then what is realistic, because I think you're looking at two totally different numbers.
Right.
And it's unfortunate, but that's just where things are at.
Yeah. We had a few years there from 2021 to about 2023 where prices were awesome. It was very easy to be selling profitable corn. You had, input costs hadn't gone up quite yet. And now we're sitting at a point where the prices aren't quite as high as what we're used to. And input costs are still staying up. So, I mean, it's going to be tough. But, in terms of just, overall market pricing, it seems like right now, we need to see a summer rally at this point for us to get, because corn's sitting at 481. And a lot of guys are looking at some price levels up above, 2 cents higher than where we're at. That, you guys, hopefully we can get there. But if we see that happen, there might be other issues going on in your fields or everywhere else around the country. So just keep that in mind if you're waiting for those prices to come into your favor.
And eventually, too, once we get to a certain spot with planting progress, any rain that we do get, it's actually going to shift to
being helpful.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. It's going to help kind of grow that crop, kind of help that first part of the growing season. So
that can send prices down. So, right now it can prevent planting. Obviously, that's going to send prices up, but eventually here it's actually going to hurt prices.
Yeah. So we got to be careful. We're kind of getting to that turning point. It's a little early right now, but that is something that we need to be looking out for down the road. So, I mean, looking at beans and wheat, is there anything in those markets that we're really focusing on? I mean, the complex seems to be taken to the chin today, the bean complex.
Yeah. The story with wheat, I think a lot of people are just focusing on what's going on in Russia and Ukraine and the weather they're getting over there and the production losses. So, yeah, I mean, it's still a story. I just don't know how much of an impact it's still having on the market. And now, obviously, soybeans are kind of turning around somewhat today, but yeah, it's kind of the same story as corn. We have so much crop out there, or so much grain that can we go higher? Maybe, I think so, but how much higher is
Gonna be the hard part.
it's gonna be tough to see.
So, I mean, grains, we're getting a little heavy here on the grains. Let's kind of switch it up. I mean, it's more exciting. I mean, this cattle market's doing good. I mean, cattle's moving up. We're seeing some decent, day over day box beef numbers that are looking good. So what's the story with that?
Yeah, box beef has been on a tear here. It seems like for the last week or two, and things continue to go higher. I said last week that can box beef be the lone driver for cattle? It seems
Right.
like, yeah. And so, yeah, cattle's doing very well. Feeders are up, live cattle are up. So good news for the whole
Right.
beef.
For beef, it's pretty nice. And, you look at, where prices are at, where cash prices are coming in, and then you throw in a cattle on feed here at the end of the week that's expected to be a little bit tighter. You have some decent support in this cattle market. So, I mean, I would agree with that. Cattle does look good. Hopefully we can continue to see it go up. But like we said, we got cattle on feed coming out later this week. We got a long weekend ahead of us. We know how that can be with these markets. So if you guys got any questions, give us a call. We're always happy to talk. 1-800-2-MARKET, 1-800-262-7538. Thank you, Teddy, for joining us. And thank you guys for watching. Thanks.